La Selección Mexicana will be taking on Uruguay and Paraguay in this November FIFA window, some of CONMEBOL's best. So we're going to talk about the convocatoria that Vasco Aguirre has called up for these two friendlies, and of course, looking at both these matches individually. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys subscribe, like, check out all the platform links down below. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Charla Football. I'm your host, as always, Gerardo, here with my co-host, Tomas. And yeah, I want to get right into the convocatoria, bro, because the convocatoria, there was some surprising names, some good inclusions as well. You know, a lot of youngsters like La Hormiga, Obed, Mora. But then there's also some questionable ones like Kevin Alvarez, Alexis Gutierrez, who we were just talking about off camera. So I want to talk about first your initial thoughts on the roster of what you think, like who could have been called up, who should have been replaced, things like that.
I don't hate it, but I do feel like there's a couple exclusions and a couple inclusions of players that shouldn't be there anymore.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's...
Who's the one that like sticks out the most to you right now?
That shouldn't be there?
Yeah, shouldn't.
I feel like we don't even have to say this. Even America fans have said Kevin Alvarez.
Kevin Alvarez. He's not in a good moment. He hasn't been in his prime since Pachuca, probably.
Yeah, and you know, at the beginning of this era with Javier Aguirre, he said he was going to take the best players in the moment. You know, because he said that he had made mistakes. You know, taking players that had this continuation of playing a long span of football, but were just older and they didn't have a good moment anymore. But he just took them off of experience. He said he was going to stop doing that, and I mean, I don't see Kevin Alvarez as not only that type of player that has a hierarchy in the selección, which he doesn't.
He doesn't. He just has. I mean, he has one World Cup. He has, I think, one World Cup match as an experience, but eso no te va a servir for these games. You know, call up somebody else.
Yeah, at least for these games, call up somebody else just to see him.
Yeah, I think I agree with the Kevin Alvarez shout. I already said Alexis Gutierrez. There was another one that I was kind of iffy about, Fidel Ambriz. You know, I love that he's a youngster. You know, he has obviously a lot of potential. There was rumors of him going to Europe a couple years ago before that move to Monterrey. I feel like that move to Monterrey definitely stalled his progression. But I'm just right now, I don't feel like he's in his best moment, especially after I saw the game against Chivas. I mean, he just didn't look all there. I don't know if that's to do with the system or just what he's going through personally. But yeah, there's definitely a couple names that definitely shouldn't be there. What about some names that like could be there?
I mean, like over Fidel Ambriz, I feel like a player in a similar position that lived a good moment with Pachuca was Montiel.
Mm-hmm. Montiel, yeah, and he played very well at the Under-20 World Cup with Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, he played fairly well. Even Real Madrid were fairly surprised at how good this player was.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Florentino Perez talking about him. Xavi Alonso at the Club World Cup was also talking about him. So obviously, he's a good player. I just think he needs more opportunities with the national team. I don't know if he's been playing recently with Pachuca. I don't know if he's been injured or
he's had like small injuries, but I mean, he's been getting his minutes.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter. Jaime Lozano's already gone anyway, so
exactly like this. I don't understand what the directiva from Pachuca wanted to accomplish with signing Jimmy Lozano.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, he has good processes. He had a good process with Pachuca for a couple of
weeks. It was like the first 4 weeks or first 3 weeks for the top of the table, and after that, just
like
complete
I
downfall.
get Jimmy Lozano's this coach that you think that he can develop players because he had the Olympic squad in
they're all young.
2021. They were pretty young and they made it pretty far, got third place. But if you look at that Olympic squad was actually much better than what Jimmy Lozano was able to accomplish. Now,
like they probably would have done something similar with a different coach. You're trying to say, or
I'm saying if they had a coach that actually understood what a full process is and adding these players of experience and being able to implement into the system that you already have, he would have been able to win it.
Mm-hmm. So that's why, I mean, Montiel, I feel like maybe should have been given that opportunity looking at La Selección right now.
Exactly. Because, I mean, if we go off of Ambriz and Montiel, Montiel's younger and he just has a better moment.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Especially, like, I feel like that's the biggest talking point right now, the midfield. A lot of people are talking about, like, Alvaro Fidalgo being called up. And I was like, bro, there's a lot of, I mean, maybe not many talented midfielders, but there's ones that have better potential, at least looking forward in their careers, like Montiel. You know, you don't have to call a Fidalgo when you already have a Marcel Ruiz who, I mean, they just played at the weekend. Toluca versus America, and Marcel Ruiz played America off the park.
You know, my ideology is this. I would never nationalize a player in general because I just don't feel like he had this whole process. You know, I've said it before, we're U15, U16, U17. He didn't suffer through that. Mm-hmm. He did it with another country. Now, is Fidalgo, if we go based off of talent, can he make this roster? Probably can. I mean, we have fucking Other
Chiquito
than this,
Sanchez.
we have Chiquito Sanchez. We have, we usually get Charlie called up.
That's actually a big surprise,
Yeah.
Charlie, which is a good surprise to see.
But, I mean, I wouldn't nationalize a player to have him on the bench, if he was going to be nationalized. But I guess, I don't know. It's just complicated because I think we have better players than Fidalgo, at least in this moment.
Yeah.
2 years ago, a year and a half ago, Fidalgo was balling out. I'd say, yes, he's playing fairly well. But if you look at who Fidalgo has around him in America, if you take out Fidalgo and you put him in Atlas and you take Aldo Rocha and put him in America, they still win those 3 championships. I don't see this importance of Fidalgo. Fidalgo did this, Fidalgo did that. Yes, he's a fairly good player, but we have players of his caliber in other teams. Aldo Rocha, when he had 2 good forwards and a decent midfield pairing and a decent defense, he won 2 back to back. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Now looking at the list like fully, I just wanted to see like what is the line, what is the convocatoria looking like, that way people can see like what we're dealing with this window. Honestly, I said that this is one of the better convocatorias that we've seen in recent time, mainly just because there's no Jorge Sanchez and no Charlie Rodriguez, no Luis Romo as well. So we're just kind of an update, a little bit of an update. If you want to just like run down through it real quick, starting with the goalkeepers.
The goalies Malagón, Rangel, and Acevedo, which is pretty much the best we have.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy with the inclusion of Acevedo once again. He was called up in the last window, didn't get any minutes, but now they're gonna play in Torreon, like his home, basically his backyard. So hopefully we could get to see him get some minutes versus Uruguay. That'd be sick. What about midfielders? Or is it it's defenders?
Defense. So it's Alvarez, Reyes, Montes, and then Edson Alvarez, Johan Vázquez, Chiquete, Gallardo, and Mateo Chavez. So right here, I mean, I think it's fine if we have Kevin Alvarez on the bench.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah. I think, the only one that could be replaced there is...
I'd rather have Israel Reyes at right back and him being defensive the whole game. I don't give a fuck if he just stays back and goes up slightly than having Kevin.
Yeah. I think, overall, I mean, you could easily replace Kevin, though. Like, I feel like he could be replaced with someone like... Ledesma right now, who's in a better moment. And I know there's a lot of controversy. I mean, Vasco had talked about how there were some players that he was trying to call up and that weren't fully convinced with the project or weren't fully convinced with switching. So I think that's maybe one of the players or maybe one of the reasons that maybe we might not see Ledesma anytime soon, just because he might be one of those players that wasn't fully ready or really desperate to represent La Selección. So, I mean, Vasco's always maintained that position that, like, he wants people that, want to represent Mexico. So, I mean, we'll see. But based on Richard Ledesma's current form with Chivas, he had like 6 assists in the season so far.
I think he had the most assists. I know that.
Well, I think Alexis Vega has more than
him. More than him?
Yeah. Alexis Vega had like 9
I know in
or 10
Chivas
assists.
He has the most assists.
But from a defensive position, I think he's the one with the most assists.
Yeah, I mean, he just flies up and down that right side.
Yeah. I mean, he has experience.
He has
Champions
couple
League
goals too. I think he has 2 or 1.
I think at least 1, but maybe 2. He has Champions League experience. Played in
I mean, he shows
Holanda.
it. You could clearly see that this player is fucking used to not only the maintaining possession like Milito likes it. He's used to going up and down that right side.
And he can do it well. Yeah, he can do it very well.
But that just comes down to discipline and conditioning. Mm-hmm. So
I think, that would have been nice to see a player like him over Kevin Alvarez. But there's other potential right backs that could have been in there as well. But let's look at midfielders now. So we got Ambriz, right?
Yeah, Ambriz, Lira, Mora, Chiquito Sanchez, Pineda, Obed Vargas, and Marcel Ruiz.
Overall, I mean, it's decent. It's better than what we've seen in the past. No Charlie, no Romo. There's really no complaints besides how we were talking about Elias Montiel. Maybe it would have been nice to see him called up alongside his other midfield pairings from the Under-20 World Cup, who did very well. So overall, there's nothing I can really say about the midfield.
Yeah.
And now, lastly, the forwards.
Well, Alexis Gutierrez, he's a midfielder this year as a forward. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to utilize him as a forward or why he has him.
I don't think he's going to play him, bro.
I don't think he would play him. But then we have Alvarado, Diego Lainez, Rubalcaba, Irving Lozano, Raúl Jiménez, Berterame, and Hormiga González.
The 2 biggest surprises, Hormiga and Rubalcaba, I think. We haven't seen Rubalcaba with the selección since the games against Porto Alegre and River Plate. And he was very good. I mean, very fast. Maybe he could have scored a hat-trick. I remember that first half against Porto Alegre. But, I mean, he got his goal. And he's been doing fairly decent with Pumas, even though Pumas have been fairly poor as well. But he's gotten goals in important games. I think he scored against Monterrey, against America, and now against Cruz Azul in the recent win. Yeah. So I think it'd be an important inclusion just because there's no Alexis Vega at the moment. There's no where's the other forward that we're missing? Santi Jimenez is also missing. Chino Huerta is also missing. All of them due to injury. Julian Quiñones as well. So it gives you a little bit of leeway to be able to experiment with different players. And then obviously Hormiga Gonzalez, who is the best Mexican goal scorer in the league, he had to be there. If not, I think everybody would have been talking shit on Vasco if he wasn't there.
There's this debate about Hormiga Gonzalez. Is he a lethal forward? Or is he just, I mean, his finishing percentage is about, 31%, right?
Yeah.
So it's 1 out of 3. And we see this every game, right? He misses 2 opportunities, he'll score the other one. Mm-hmm. So his finishing is about 33%. Chicharito, when he left, Chivas was about 42%. So, that's almost out of 1 out of every 2 opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, he's young. He still has time to develop his finishing.
I'm not saying he's bad, obviously. I'm saying he has time to develop his finishing. He has time to do stuff, develop himself as a player as well. I'm saying does Chivas just create so many opportunities that you have to score some? Or is Hormiga Gonzalez, a decent striker?
I think he's a decent striker.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, because we see the same thing with Santi, same thing with Raul. Maybe not in this moment with La Selección, but in years in the past where the midfield would need to create opportunity after opportunity for our strikers to score. Yeah. And back in those days, they wouldn't be able to create many opportunities because we don't have creative midfielders. I feel like now with some of these inclusions of these younger midfielders who can create, I feel like we're going to see these players getting a little bit more opportunities in front of goal. I mean, we've seen Santi Jimenez finally get a few goals. Raul Jimenez, obviously, he can create for himself now. And then Armando Gonzalez, I would like to see him get some minutes against Uruguay and Paraguay. I feel like against Paraguay will be the most realistic because I feel like against Uruguay it's going to be the most difficult match. But maybe against both, coming off the bench, he could be getting some minutes. Will he score? I don't know. It depends how much those midfielders, those wingbacks can create for him.
Honestly, like if it was with my ideology, if I was, Javier Aguirre, I'd say start him versus Uruguay.
Start him against Uruguay?
Yeah, start him against Uruguay. It's a practice game. We're going to play the fucking World Cup.
Yeah. But wouldn't you want, your best player, which is Raul Jimenez, who's, maybe he's not going through his best moment.
Both.
You would start both? Okay.
2 center forwards.
When was the last time we saw him play with 2 forwards? It's been a while.
It's been since the best game we fucking played versus Canada.
Yeah, that's true.
When he played with Santi and Raul. Mm-hmm. But now it's just, my thought is this, I play better. I create more opportunities with 2 forwards. I always do. When Mexico plays with 2 forwards, they create more opportunities.
Especially with Raul there who can create for himself or whoever's playing alongside
Raul can create for himself, and Raul knows how to play with the second striker. I don't know how because I don't remember a team where he played with the second striker, but he's fairly decent playing with the second striker. Now, that's my thought. Create chances going forward. Realistically, I think he's going to play with 1 forward.
Yeah, that's what he's been doing at least for the past few months.
It's the safe option.
Yeah. The safe option is going with Raul Jimenez up top, and have him either create for himself or the wingers try to get something there. The midfielders try to create something as well.
No, but my thought is Uruguay when they played versus Jimmy. Obviously, it's a different team, but we played with the 4-3-3.
Yeah,
right?
We got smacked.
I say play with the 4-4-2. Let's see what Uruguay has, and then if you see any weaknesses, transition at halftime. Sorry.
I think the good thing about playing Uruguay first is also that we're not going to be, I think, pushed to our limits like we would if they still had Valverde in the roster. And who was the other? They had another important player. Nunez. There's no Nunez as well.
Nunez.
So obviously he's not playing for Liverpool anymore. He went to Saudi Arabia, but they're still important players under Marcelo Bielsa. They've been important players under him.
Yeah, what Uruguay has is a lot of grit. They beat Argentina in the World Cup qualifier at home. Mm-hmm. They have, they're an important team. They
have a lot of Liga MX players too.
They also have a lot of Liga MX players, but that Liga MX experience does influence them since they play their, in their day-to-day.
Yeah, they understand. Imagine it's Brian Rodriguez on the left against Reyes on the right, right back. He understands how to play against them. He trains against them all the time.
Now, but Uruguay just plays different. They don't look like a Liga MX team. They don't look like a player. They don't look like a club that has 4. They don't look like a national team that has 4 Liga MX players starting. It's just they're able to have this switch where now they're playing for their national team and they're way more intense, they're way more fast, which is how Marcelo Bielsa likes it. We saw he's heavily influenced, with English football in the terms of conditioning, and he adds that, South American,
flair.
Obviously he's Argentinian, so he likes maintaining possession, long spells of possession and counter-attacking football. So I mean, it's complicated. We saw Uruguay; they tore us to shreds. You know, they counterattacked us perfectly. They possessed against us perfectly. Long spells of possession to when we were getting a little bit of momentum. Long spells of possession to kill us.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean,
I remember where were we that game? We were
in London.
In London, I remember we woke up like 2 or 3 in the morning, like, let's try to watch the match. We were already losing like 2-3-0. We're like, never mind, turn that shit off.
Oh, bro. Terrible. Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what we expected though from that Uruguayan team. Once we saw who was starting, you know, where he didn't have his best back line starting, but it goes farther than that. It goes through the ideology.
Yeah, I think this match will definitely be a lot more different given the identity that now the selección has, more grit, a little bit more picapiedra, but it's.
I mean, we saw what happened versus Colombia, and then we saw how they responded against Ecuador.
I feel like we're going to see a game very similar to what we saw against Ecuador, especially since we don't have some of those same names in the starting 11, and they're definitely not going to be in that starting 11. There's not going to be no Alexis Vega.
I don't think Berterame is starting either.
I don't think there's going to be Berterame. There's not going to be Charlie in the midfield coming from the bench, to try to resolve something, or Julian Quiñones. Like, no, these are players that are wanting to prove themselves, which is the good thing too.
Yeah, but the reason I said I'd start with Ormega is I start with the young team in general. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I mean, we could go into this later, but my backline would be the same. It's just Israel Reyes instead of Jorge Sanchez. I mean, if we go off of moment, we go to goalkeeper. Tala has a higher save percentage right now than Malagon.
He's in a better moment. Yeah,
Tala's in a better moment.
He has 7 wins or 8 wins in the last 7 games. Yeah. I mean, obviously because Chivas, but he's been playing well. And
I mean, it's just, oh my gosh, bro. Like I don't have anything against Malagon.
We were calling for Malagon to be a starter a little over a year ago when Memo Ochoa was
starting. We were calling for Malagon. Malagon has a better moment. He should fucking start. He started starting. He was doing good for a long time, up until we noticed everything, and everybody noticed this fucking defect that he has, and he's done it with America as well. He doesn't know how to come out.
Yeah.
No sabe chicar.
Yeah, and then in the recent, I think it was the recent game against Toluca, he comes out, commits a penalty.
Yeah, and it's just so stupid, and I see him, and I saw his comment as well, and he was like, it was this America fan, like an official page. Even he said, quisiera ver el día que Malagón salga como hombre.
Yeah. And even Vasco Aguirre himself has said he doesn't have anything clear regarding the goalkeeping position. He said he prefers a goalkeeper that is able to come out, that's confident, that is, a leader inside of his area. Like he literally just said that yesterday in an interview with Televisa.
If right now that's Tala, because I mean Tala took a fucking ball of not Sergio Ramos, what's the other tall guy from Monterrey? He took a ball off of his head, off of a corner, and that's what Tala does. He's 6'2", Malagon's about 5'11", so he's just larger. Yeah. He's naturally jumps a little bit higher. And he's
lanky and everything as well. Yeah, I mean, so for this game against Uruguay, who would you prefer? I mean, I like to see Acevedo just because, it's in Torreon, it's in his backyard. But if we're going based off of, you have to go with your best possible 11 because you're facing one of the best teams in Conmebol, would you go Tala?
I'd go with... Off of moment right now, I'd go with Tala because I see how Malagon comes out, and it's terrible, bro. It's fucking Uruguay is a team that's gonna be there the whole fucking time.
They're gonna create opportunities,
and when they're on those corner kicks, their fucking center backs are fucking huge.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, which keeper do I understand and know that will come out for a fucking header, a 50-50? Tala. Yeah. Malagon's gonna do this.
What about Acevedo? I feel like I haven't seen enough to be like,
Acevedo. Look, out of the 3 keepers, Acevedo has the best reflexes.
Yeah, he's like feline. Like on FIFA.
He's
feline like.
And it's kind of just like, but my thing with Acevedo is he doesn't come out as. I think Malagon is better coming out than Acevedo. But Acevedo,
they're like the same height. I want to say they're like.
I think they're the same height, but Malagon is kind of, I don't know. He just comes out like this, and Acevedo doesn't come out. He kind of just waits back and.
Yeah. Because he had a good save against Santos recently in the recent match. He played a good game. I don't know.
But both Malagon and I just want to say Tala have the same level of reflexes because Malagon has good reflexes. We've seen him; he has some crazy ass saves. It's just that coming out part, and I know Uruguay is gonna be a team that's gonna be fucking pounding on the door, and Tala's just taller.
Maybe this could also be the what's the word I'm looking for? Not comeback, but because Tala Rangel already played against Uruguay, and that was his first game with La Selección, and they scored 4.
I think that was
more to avenge his past performance against the same team.
He'd definitely be hungry if they call him up, because to avenge that.
Yeah.
But it was also idiotic from Jaime Lozano because he put up a starting team that was a B team. First of all, the backline wasn't the same backline. Wasn't It didn't include Cesar Montes.
Yeah.
It didn't include Johan Vasquez.
We haven't
it didn't
seen
include
we haven't seen
Alvarez.
Tala with the best back line possible.
No, we haven't, and it's just it was idiotic for Jimmy Lozano to do that because not only did he kill his confidence, because even when he went back to Chivas, if you remember that whole season, he wasn't the same because you just fucking obliterated his confidence playing him against a top three team in the world at that time, which they were ranked, Uruguay, since they had beaten Argentina. Now you bring him and you just put him against one of the best teams with not even one of your best defenses.
Yeah, the only time we saw him, I think the first and only time we saw Tala Rangel with the best defensive line was just in the recent game against Ecuador. Yeah, but then unfortunately, lo exhibieron because Romo gave a bad pass.
Romo gave a terrible pass, and
then he was forced to come out, and there was a penalty that
it was soft.
Shouldn't have been a penalty.
It was soft.
But I mean, he had a pretty decent match, especially with the ball at his feet. I think that's also something very important to look at, especially against teams like Uruguay and Paraguay who are going to be pressing you so hard as if this was a CONMEBOL match, as if they were playing qualifiers still. Because who wouldn't want to go toe to toe with one of the host nations right before the World Cup to show hey, we're also a powerhouse. We're also a team to not look so low at.
But what do you think about it being played in Torreon though? Because look, this is preparatory for a Mexico game.
Yeah.
I mean, for the World Cup. Realistically, Mexico's gonna play not even realistically. It's just a fact. They're gonna play in either Guadalajara or Ciudad de Mexico.
They're not playing in Torreon.
They're not playing in Torreon.
I don't know what was the reasoning behind.
Monterrey.
I don't know what was the reasoning behind playing in Torreon when you're gonna be playing in Guadalajara and Ciudad de Mexico. But I mean, they just played in Guadalajara, and maybe they could have gone to Monterrey as well to
They could have gone to
or El Estadio Jalisco. I don't know.
Not even the Estadio Jalisco. They could have Monterrey, maybe Monterrey, because since they're not gonna play there for the World Cup,
At least give a show over there.
give a show. But either Monterrey or, I mean, the Estadio Azteca
it's not ready.
Well, somewhere in Ciudad de Mexico, either the Puma Stadium or the Cruz Azul Stadium. That's
Or Ceú. That would have been a good stadium to play at. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, just little weird decisions. But overall, I'm happy that they're playing in Mexico. Honestly, I'll take that they're playing.
Yeah, I'll take that rather than playing in the U.S. because I mean, the typical Mexican fan in the U.S. doesn't give a fuck about soccer.
Yeah,
they don't give a fuck if they win or lose. They
just want to go.
They just want to go tailgate, drink, have a carne asada.
Hopefully Mexico win, but if not, I mean, they're still gonna party. They're still gonna enjoy themselves. There's not the same. What's it called?
It's because if you think about it, right here, a lot of people coming from, local areas and shit like that. But we're just used to partying here. We're not used to.
Well, like how I mentioned in the podcast before, there's just not the same intensity as you would get playing in Torreon, for example. If Mexico's losing 2-0 versus Uruguay in Torreon, all the fans are going against La Selección Mexicana. Over here, that wouldn't really happen. Nothing like that would really happen. Maybe towards the end of the match when they start doing the grito and everything, but it's not the same. I feel like the Mexican fans in Mexico, they expect a lot more. The expectations is just a lot more different than fans over here in the U.S.
It's because if you think about it, that comes because we've been to Guadalajara. Our parents are from Guadalajara, and we've been there many times. When we go to the stadium, you see that week in, week out, the Chivas. The Chivas fans are there.
Yeah,
and they're yelling. And I even seen. I told you this. Going into the stadium when Amaury's getting off is the other side of the stadium when he's passing through his cars. People are yelling at him, "Chinga tu madre, Amaury." They're exigiéndole that to improve the team, to buy better players.
Even though they're in a good moment.
They're still fucking yelling at Amaury Vergara. And that's just the thing. They can't get enough winning.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with America fans. America, when they lost the Clásico, I don't personally as a fan, I don't think this is a good how would I say, showing of them when they started getting up and leaving. But it shows you that these fans won't stick around to see you lose.
Yeah, no, because there's actual expectations if you're one of the big boys in your area, like Chivas, like America, like La Selección, then you have to be the best. You have to win every single game no matter who you play against.
And each fan base has their own way of showing it. Chivas fans, they go and they tell Amaury Vergara to their face. They yell at the players. I remember when they were going through a bad moment in, I want to say 2014, they were outside of those fucking training grounds and yelling at them. I remember Carlos Fierro kind of giving them a thumbs up and they were flipping them off. And it's just, Chivas culture, it's like that. You go and you tell the team, échale huevos and stuff like that. And, it's just, that's their day-to-day since their teams are there, and then they watch these players go to the selección, so they tell them, the same
thing. Yeah. Because there's actually.
Whereas you go to the U.S., we don't have that week in, week out of being with, like, Mexican players in the Mexican club. It's just different.
You just watch it from TV. Yeah, it's completely different. Now, kind of shifting gears, looking at both of these matches individually. Let's just go through quick predictions. How you think La Selección's going to do for these two matches. You want to start or you want me to start?
You go ahead.
All right. Against Uruguay, I see a draw. I don't see anything more than a 1-1. Probably very similar game to what we saw against Ecuador. Very, very scrappy game. The midfield is going to be very key. There's not going to be a lot of opportunities for either teams. Uruguay is a team that can score a lot of goals, but Mexico is also a team that doesn't leak many goals, except against that game against Colombia. But I want to say that was a fluke game, and I feel like they're going to come out with a different intensity in this match, knowing that it's knowing that it's Uruguay. So I could see like a 1-1 draw, very similar to Ecuador. And then also with Paraguay, I think that game is where we can take advantage. We're going to be playing in the U.S. and Texas, but that's going to be a home game. That's a home game right there. The recent matches for Paraguay, they lost against South Korea, and they tied against Japan. Very similar to how Mexico did in the recent matches as well. So I think, in this case, Mexico can get a 2-0 result also.
Yeah, what about you? Say, for the Uruguay game, I just don't see Javier Aguirre allowing that Colombia loss to ever happen again.
Yeah.
So I'd say he doesn't play it safe, but he doesn't risk either.
Yeah.
I see he's going a 4-3-3 or something like that, and I see for the result, I think it'd be probably 0-0, worst case scenario. Uruguay wins 1 or 2-0.
Oh, shit. So you don't have hope that we would win that match at all?
Uruguay?
Against Uruguay.
I just don't see how.
Okay. Now against Paraguay. Paraguay, I feel like that's not the easier team, but it's compared, to Uruguay. I think it's more accessible to get a result versus them, a good positive result.
I think Paraguay 1 or 2-0.
All right, cool. Hopefully we're right on our predictions. Make sure you guys come back after the match against Uruguay. We'll do a match reaction after that match, and then we'll also do a match reaction after the Paraguay match, I believe the week after. No, not this weekend, but the week after. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, check out all the platform links down below for more Selección Mexicana content. Make sure you just check out all the platform links, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.